Good evening, wrestling fans. Welcome to Evolution of Pro Wrestling. I am Lewis, the encyclopedia of professional wrestling. This is Jay, the wrestling whiz kid of wrestling. Thank you for joining us as always. We appreciate you coming on. It was an amazing interview we had recently, about maybe an hour and a half ago, 2 hours I should say, with the legendary Mr. Hugo Savinovich. He is legendary all over professional wrestling. He pretty much transcended the international scene, I should say, Jaden, when it came to wrestling. So, and speaking of international scene, today's topic is going to be a crazy one. It is going to be one that many people were talking about the last one. Fantasy Warfare 2 tag teams.
Yes.
See, my colleague was not ready for that. You saw that? He hesitated for a minute. Let's try it again. Fantasy Warfare
2
tag teams. This is going to be an interesting topic.
Oh, yeah,
my colleague has picked 11. We added one extra. 11 of the top tag teams in the Millennium era.
Yep. Which means 2000s or higher. If you don't know what Millennium means.
Okay, that was good. But next time, don't cut me off. Okay. Anyway, I have chosen 11 of the top tag teams in the 80s and 90s era. So let's see how this is gonna go, and which teams are gonna be picked in the Fantasy Warfare battle. So, Jaden.
Yep.
Let's get right to it.
Let's do this. Alright.
Okay, your team.
So, my first tag team is Haas and Benjamin.
The world's greatest tag team. Interesting.
What you got, Dad?
I have the Steiner Brothers. Okay, so you got two unique individual tag teams with this going on. Tell us about Haas and Benjamin, Jaden. You seen them when they came in. They were with Kurt Angle. They came in and made a name for themselves.
They started off with Kurt Angle, Shelton Benjamin. They had the overalls and everything, going similar to Kurt Angle. They came in with a bang. They were known probably to live up to the name, the greatest tag team, because, they were such a great and unique tag team. And then the way they used to wrestle as a tag team and singly was absolutely astonishing and amazing to watch those guys compete in the ring. So I absolutely think that they do deserve that name, the greatest tag team. I don't exactly agree with them being the greatest tag team, but they do have a place in one of the greatest tag teams that I've ever seen.
Well, they were a good tag team. But to me, they were not better than Steiner Brothers. Steiner Brothers, Rick and Scott, the Dogface Gremlin, they had this move called the Bulldog off the top that Rick Steiner would do. So, in your opinion, Jaden, you've never seen the Steiners, so I can't really say that.
I can't really say that who's gonna win, who's gonna lose, because I've seen Haas and Benjamin in action, but I've never seen the Steiner Brothers in action.
Well, I've definitely seen the Steiner Brothers in action, and the Steiner Brothers pretty much did it up when they were in professional wrestling. So I gotta say, one for the old guy over here. So it's a shame that the world's greatest tag team did break up. They were
a really good.
They were a really good tag team.
I feel like they were one of the tag teams that actually worked together, like as a pair too. So Haas and Benjamin, they were two people and they worked together outstandingly. Like they worked together so amazing. Mm-hmm. So it was really sad to see them break up.
No, it sure was. It was definitely sad to see the world's greatest tag team break up. But we actually got a little bit of of a different side from both of them when they both left. Just like with the Steiner Brothers. The Steiner Brothers, eventually breaking up. Scott Steiner turning on Rick. So, yeah, that's how everything ended with those tag teams. So let's go to another one. Jaden, let's see what you got. Tell me what you got in that fantasy tag team warfare.
Oh. All right, so I got DX with Shawn and Triple H.
Wow, let's see. Ooh, the Brain Busters. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. That's an interesting match. It's
match.
Two totally different
totally different styles.
Totally different styles, but I'd say that would be an interesting match with the Brain Busters and DX, especially if they both fought in their prime as Triple H as the Cerebral Assassin.
Cerebral Assassin and Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels as the Showstopper.
The Heartbreak Kid, all that. That's what made them so unique. They weren't like other tag teams. They'll go and disrespect the general manager. They'll put people's head through walls, put DX all over the place, blow up stuff. They were like the fun tag team, but when it comes to getting inside the ring, they got the job done, and they would use teamwork. They were like, okay, you can't get this guy down, I'll help you get this guy down. Those guys had absolutely excellent teamwork in the ring, especially together. So I feel like that's an absolutely amazing tag team. DX.
Yes. Triple H and Shawn Michaels, that's a dream team.
That's a big dream team right there.
But the Brain Busters, Arn Anderson, the Enforcer, he pretty much, when he hit you with that spine buster, it was all over. It was all over. And the pile driver that he does with Tully Blanchard was even more successful. They were champions in the WWE at a point. They definitely enjoyed themselves when they came to the WWE. And, it was a shame that their run did not last as long as it did. But, things happen for a reason. So, we know what they were about. All right, Jaden, what's the next one here?
Let's do it. All right. So, my next one is Miz and Morrison. They're all... I feel like Miz and Morrison, like... Earlier age Miz and Morrison were the better one, but like I don't really pay attention to them anymore.
Well, how about Harlem Heat? Ooh.
See now,
Booker T, Stevie Ray.
Alright. See now, I liked Miz and Morrison, at their prime when like Miz like Mohawk Miz and John Morrison before the beard. And before John Morrison came back to the WWE, I'd rather see them, that Miz and Morrison, than this Miz and Morrison now. But to be honest, if I really had to choose a tag team that was to win, I would choose Harlem Heat. To be really honest, I'll choose Harlem Heat.
Okay.
I feel like Booker T and Ray is way better tag team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sleeping on Miz and Morrison either, because they can be, destructive team in the ring.
They're excellent talent.
The Miz and Morrison
is excellent talent.
But I still feel like...
But the Harlem Heat, they're an old school team.
Better. Oh, yeah.
They're multi-tag team champions.
Exactly.
They did a lot. They did a lot for this business, and it was amazing what they did in this business when it came to tag team wrestling.
Right.
They didn't win the tag team titles in WWE because they never wrestled in Harlem Heat in the WWE.
Right.
But in WCW, they pretty much did all they could to win those titles. And that's what they did. Harlem Heat was the team, a great team in WCW, and I wish they would have came to the WWE to fight. And the Miz and Morrison, the Miz is a former WWE champion. Excellent superstar. Him and also Morrison, them as a tag team.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of like them both as an individual better than a tag team,
Yeah, I agree.
should say.
I feel like when they broke up is when they started making a name for themselves. So everybody started talking about John Morrison more. And look at the Miz. The Miz became like a 6-time Intercontinental Champion. He got a WWE Champion. He won a Money in the Bank. He was going good for himself. John Morrison wasn't as high as The Miz was at that time, but, John Morrison still made a name for himself for doing all these crazy Starship Pains and, getting on top of the Elimination Chamber and jumping down. So, those guys both made a name for themselves, and they both made it up there when, they split up.
No, you're absolutely right. It was crazy that, when they did split up, The Miz turned heel, right. Morrison turned face, and it was a hell of a battle between those two.
Oh, yeah.
So we got, Christopher Brown on the show. Welcome, brother. He said that Harlem Heat Miz and Morrison match would probably last less than 10 minutes. Stevie Ray and Booker T would have mopped the floor with them easy. And I mean,
we're talking, I think... if we're talking prime, then yes, I agree.
Absolutely.
If we're talking Stevie Ray and Booker T at their primes, like when Harlem Heat when first became a thing, then yeah,
absolutely,
they're gonna wipe them off.
Absolutely,
the map.
They will wipe them.
Yeah,
off
they'll
the
wipe
map.
them up on.
Wipe them off the map. Quick.
Absolutely.
Before we continue, wrestling fans, please feel free to share our content all over the wrestling world, in your groups, in your chats, in your friends. Bring them all over the world. We want to talk wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we do. That's what it is. So, Jay.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
For the next one.
Let's do it. All right. So, my next tag team is Edge and Christian.
Oh.
Those guys, I'm not going to say nothing yet.
Wow.
Those guys were a great tag team to watch.
That was an excellent tag team.
That is an excellent tag team.
Wow, Edge and Christian, the innovators of Reek of Awesomeness, I should say. Interesting. So my tag team is the Head Shrinkers.
I have never.
I'm about to tell you who they are. The Head Shrinkers are The Rock's cousins. You have Rikishi.
Okay, I know who that is.
Rikishi was part of the Head Shrinkers. And Samu Fatu. Also, he is a member of the Aona family.
Oh, yeah. The Aona family have a lot of family in this WWE.
Yes, they sure do. So, that's one of my tag teams right there. I give it to the Head Shrinkers all the way.
See,
what is your take on this?
I feel like Edge and Christian would win by a slight chance, because I feel like Edge and Christian, they were like that super dynamic tag team. Like, look at the TLC match they had with the Hardys and the Dudleys. Look at the risks that Edge took. Look at all the things that Christian did to help. Christian. I feel like Christian had more fame, and he was up there when him and Edge were a tag team, and sadly they broke up. But I feel like those two together, it was like a super dominant force. Those guys with the long hair, jumping into the ring, and then once they got into the ring, they got straight to business.
Absolutely. That's what Edge and Christian did.
Oh yeah.
But that's what I'm mentioning. The Head Shrinkers as well, Samu and Fatu. They were great in the ring. They were beasts. They were Samoa. They were strong.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, Jaden. I think I gotta give this to the Head Shrinkers. Not taking anything away from Edge. I
disagree. I just gotta disagree.
Not taking anything away from Edge and Christian. Great superstars. Edge is a Hall of Famer, but Head Shrinkers, come on. These are The Rock's cousins. These are The
Rock's cousins, but come on now.
Okay, so let's read a few comments here.
All right.
Jamie Solomon says, "Thank you for joining us, Jamie. I feel with Morrison made himself more credible in Lucha Underground." You're absolutely right, because he did. I used to see him in Lucha Underground. Christopher Brown says, "Oh, Lewis, I'm not sure if you heard that Jack Gallagher has been let go by the WWE." Yes, I did see that.
What was that?
It was a cruiserweight. It was in WWE. Got released. We will not get into those details at this moment. We do know I do know the circumstances, but we're not going to get into that right now. So WWE is having their problems. That's on them.
Yeah.
Also, Christopher Brown says, for a match like the Head Shrinkers versus Edge and Christian, it would depend on if it's straight up wrestling match or if it's ladders, chairs involved. That's a good point.
Okay,
that's
so
a good point.
I feel like look. This is what I feel.
That's a really good point.
I feel like Edge and Christian will win the tables, ladders, and chairs match, but I feel like the other team, what's their name again?
The Head Shrinkers.
The Head Shrinkers. I feel like the Head Shrinkers will win, just a regular tag team match.
Well, as you say, yes, it's tough to call. If you're talking about a ladder match, I would definitely have to agree that match goes to Edge and Christian.
Exactly.
You know, but as you said, if it is a wrestling match, brawl, straight to the mat, I got to give it to the Headstringers.
Right.
Daniel Gilbert, welcome, sir. This is the first time we see you on the show. What do you think about Shorty G? Shorty G is a good athlete. Good athlete. I remember him and Jordan as a tag team, and you know, I wish they would have never broke them up, but they were a good tag team, and we need to see him back in the tag team division.
Right.
So let's hope that would happen. Mm-hmm. So Jaden, let's get to the next one.
Let's go.
If I can grab one.
Oh, I got another part of the Iona family, the Usos.
The Usos. Wow.
Usos.
Wow. They
those guys are
those are
man. I think that's like my third favorite tag team. If I want to be completely honest, if not my third, my first favorite tag team.
Well, they are a good tag team.
They are a really good tag team.
But can they handle the British Bulldogs? The British Bulldogs against the Usos. Talk about fantasy warfare.
I feel like one of the only ways the British Bulldogs are gonna win is if they split up Jay and Jimmy Uso. Because if you see those two working together, it's crunch time for them. That's it. You're not gonna win once they get that super kick. Once they go on the top ropes, if you see Jay and Jimmy Uso working together, you know it's danger because you know they're twins and they're super strong together. They're like a super giant, except in two different bodies. They're both working together. They're both making it happen. So I feel like the only way, or one of the only ways, the British Bulldogs would probably beat them is if one of them was to attack Jimmy and the other one was to take Jimmy and Jay, yeah.
Listen, this match right here of this altitude with the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid. These two men, I don't know if you ever seen a match of theirs, but I'll be more than happy to show you. These two men were so big. Like
I've seen the British Bulldogs.
And the
British Bulldogs
and the speed that they had when they were in a match was phenomenal. Like, I could not ask for a better match like that one. Like, I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to the Usos, like the Usos is one of the greatest tag teams in this era. Let's get to a few comments, Jaden.
All right.
Karen Mary Davis, first time watching. Thank you for watching, ma'am. She says I love the Undertaker and Roman Reigns. Yes, my wife is a fan of Roman Reigns too. Daniel Gilbert again says Ali needs a push. Yes, he sure does, sir. Ali would be an excellent, maybe Intercontinental, United States, then to work on that championship role. But they need to give him a chance. Absolutely. You know, hopefully he can do better in Raw. But back to our topic. Christopher Brown says that would be a match I love to see. Exactly. The British Bulldogs against the Usos.
I feel like the Usos have a package all in one. So what I'm basically saying is the Usos are strong, the Usos are fast, and the Usos are high flyers. If you have a team like that, that's an unstoppable team. But that was the same thing for the British Bulldogs, except I don't really think they were much of high flyers. But you know,
they were.
Oh, so they were. So that means that's two perfect tag teams right there.
That's why Christopher Brown said he would love to see that match because of the altitude, the attitude.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm speaking in tongues here. The magnitude of this match, that if it would have ever happened, you will see the speed of the Usos. You'll see the speed of the British Bulldogs. You'll see the high flying of the Usos. The power of the British Bulldogs. So you don't know what you're going to get in that match.
It's going to be a surprising match.
So Jamie Salmon says Bulldogs. He picks the Bulldogs if they would have had Matilda. That was a dog they had, a little bulldog.
I see that. Yeah.
So Christopher Brown just mentioned a dream match, saying British Bulldogs versus Gallows and Anderson. I would give that to the British Bulldogs as well.
Yeah, I agree. I would give that to the British Bulldogs.
Yes. So, Jaden, let's continue. Let's get to our next Fantasy Warfare pick.
I have the Shield.
Whoa!
But I have Seth and Roman. And we're not talking about the Shield from the past. We're talking about the Shield when they first came to WWE. When they made their debut, when they won the tag team titles for their first time.
Okay, no, that's an excellent pick.
Oh, yeah.
But do you think they would have been able to take on the greatest tag team of all, the Legion of Doom?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
What a fantasy warfare dream match.
Absolutely.
Legion of Doom against Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns of the Shield from the beginning?
Absolutely. I have a perfect reason too. I feel like they will be able to take on the Legion of Doom, because if any of you guys go to the past and realize the havoc the Shield has done, they attack John Cena, Sheamus, Ryback, CM Punk, The Rock, Big Show, Mark Henry, so many people in the WWE. They did that to so many people. They attacked so many people. They were making a name for themselves. It was at a point where the Shield went undefeated. It was at a point where the members of the Shield went undefeated.
I think it was close to like 2 years.
It was close to 2 years. So imagine putting the Legion of Doom against the Shield. The Shield will be able to hold their own. And Roman Reigns, was the powerhouse. Seth Rollins was the brains. If you have a powerhouse, a master of chaos, and you have a brains on your team, that's either a great faction or a great tag team. And I feel like the Shield, matter of fact, the Shield was my favorite tag team and will still be forever my favorite tag team, because those guys to this day is still a great tag team, and the work that they did as heels was absolutely amazing. So I feel like the Shield would take that. Even I get it that is your favorite tag team, and we all have our different opinions, but I feel like, in my opinion, the Shield would win that. I gotta give it to the Shield.
Christopher Brown says, now, is this Legion of Doom with or without Johnny Ace, Lewis? I would say without, but with Paul Ellering. Paul Ellering, the mean, destructive team of the Legion of Doom that pretty much won almost every single title in the world, in Japan, in WCW, AWA, WWE, ECW. Like, these men have, like, really won the title. So, and listen, I respect the fact that, the Shield has done a lot since they came into this business. Yes, John Moxley is now in AEW, but I would have definitely wanted those three, like with the Legion of Doom, Paul Ellering against the Shield.
I'm pretty sure, if you want me to be completely honest and not sugarcoat anything, the Shield, if they were to still be together from that point on, the Shield would have probably been the most dominant faction in the WWE history, or probably one of the most dominant factions, probably the second or third most dominant faction or tag team in the WWE history ever. Because, like, they wreaked absolute havoc in the WWE. They attacked every single person, and once they split up, their careers did go uphill. They all ended up winning a title, once. But I feel like the Shield will forever be the Shield.
No, the
Shield will forever be the
Shield. Was one of the most powerful factions in WWE.
They had everything. They had the strength, they had the mind, they had the lunatic. Exactly. You put those three together, that's an ultimate team right there.
But I still think the Legion of Doom.
I gotta disagree. I gotta go with the Shield on that.
No,
I take the Shield. Yes.
No.
I take the Shield.
Come on.
Nope, I take the Shield.
Come on. This is.
But like the Legion of Doom are two big men, and then you have a flipper, you have a high flyer going against two big men, and then you have so basically you have a high flyer and a powerhouse going against two powerhouses. I feel like and no matter how fast a powerhouse is, a powerhouse will never be faster than a high flyer or a person similar to the way Seth Rollins wrestles. I feel like there could never be a high flyer faster than the way Seth Rollins the way his mindset was, you know, he was the architect. He was the wrestling architect. He had the brains. He thought everything out. He used to tell them, go that way, go that way. And, you know, Seth Rollins is sneaky. So he would find a way to probably get them down. And, you know, Roman Reigns would do his thing. Once the match is over, you know, a triple power bomb. And that's it. So I feel like the Shield will take this match all the way.
Okay.
I feel like, but don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The Legion of Doom will probably hit them with the Doomsday device, and you know, once they get that on, that's over. But I feel like that it would be an absolutely great match to see, and I feel like those two would probably last for probably 40 minutes or longer, if possibly. But I still feel like the Shield will take it.
Okay. We agree to disagree.
Okay.
Because I disagree with you.
Okay.
The Shield is an awesome faction. But the Legion of Doom is by far the best tag team in the world, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
Next one. Let's go.
Let's do this. If I can get one out. So let's see here. All right, I got the New Day.
Oh.
It's a New Day. Yes, it is.
This is going to be an interesting tag team match. The Rockers. Ooh. Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Wow, that's pretty.
Now, are we talking? I feel like with the New Day, it's all mixed up because sometimes you would see Kofi and Big E, sometimes you would see Kofi, and sometimes you would see Xavier, sometimes you would see Xavier and Big E. So I feel like I would like to see the Rockers against the New Day, but the New Day when Kofi Kingston. I would love to see Big E and Kofi Kingston against the Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels.
And who do you think would win that match?
See, now, Shawn Michaels was a beast when he was in the Rockers until, you know, he turned on them. But besides that, Shawn Michaels was a beast. And, you know, Marty Jannetty was also a beast. But, you know, Big E is a big guy. And Big E moves really fast. And Big E, you know, can get off of his feet. He can dive through the turnbuckle. You know, he's basically a slight high flyer, and you know Kofi is a high flyer. I feel like Kofi is like another, or if not, a more high flyer version of Shawn Michaels. You know, Shawn Michaels is not as much of a high flyer as Kofi was, but you know, Shawn Michaels could still get up high, you know, jump off of ladders and stuff like that. So I would love to see those two bump heads. Well, and probably Marty Jannetty and, you know, Big E could probably have a good match to go at it.
Well, we got Alvin Cloud on the show. Welcome, brother. He said HBK could take all three of them by himself.
Okay, let's not get crazy.
Yeah, let's not get crazy.
Because Marty Jannetty was an absolutely amazing wrestler. I've probably seen like 2 of his matches, and he was trash. Marty Jannetty.
He was trash. He was the weak link of the Rockers.
He was the weak link of the Rockers, but like, come on.
No disrespect intended to Marty Jannetty.
Like, come on now. Like, you gotta give the man props.
Listen, he was good talent in the Rockers, but Shawn Michaels was the carrier of the team.
He was the spotlight. But like, come on now. Like, you still gotta give him a few props.
No, of course. They were a great tag team. They wrestled in AWA. You know, they wrestled other organizations. They
See, I feel like HBK can take on Marty Jannetty, but like if he was to take on the New Day, like if they were to be separate, and I'm talking about if he was to take on SOS, Kofi Kingston, that would be a close match. I really want to know who would win that. I really want to know who would win that match, but I feel like that would be a close match.
No, of course, it would definitely be a close match.
Absolutely.
So, who would you give this match to, Jaden?
I feel like the New Day, only because you said, you know, Shawn Michaels was the carrier of that team, and Marty Jannetty, he was good, but like I don't think he was able to top like a Shawn Michaels or like a Hulk Hogan or something.
No,
like
absolutely not.
So I feel like
they tried, but it just wasn't.
So I'll give that to the New Day for a tag team match, but a singles match, you know, Shawn Michaels would probably take that.
Yeah. Okay. I would have to agree. The New Day.
Because the New Day, they don't need to carry themselves. You know, they got each other's backs, and, you know, they all played their part in the tag team. So, you know, Xavier Woods basically can high fly, and he's a little, you know, he's a little heavyweight, you know, a little strong. Big E is strong and fast, and Kofi is a high flyer.
Definitely.
So, you know.
So, before we continue, Jaden, as we mentioned, wrestling fans, please feel free to share our content. Bring people in. Bring them into this conversation.
Yes.
We want to have this wrestling talk with fans all over the world. Bring them on the show.
Absolutely.
Best podcast in Central Florida right now.
Yep.
Let's do it up, as we always do. Right, Jaden?
Let's go.
All right, so, Jaden.
Yep.
Let's pick the next one.
I already got mine. Let's do this. All right. Oof. I got Cody and Ted DiBiase.
Wow, Legacy.
I don't know about. I don't really know about these.
Okay,
two.
before we go into that, Christopher Brown says New Day wins. Jannetty eats the pin. See, Jannetty is the weak link. So, okay, Legacy, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr., second generation superstars, former tag team champions, against, this is no comparison.
What is it?
The Hart Foundation.
Yeah,
Jim the Anvil Neidhart
and Bret Hart.
This is just a squash
See, look,
match.
I agree with you 100%.
Well, wait a minute. Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes are great talent.
They are.
So you'd be surprised that
but like
they might give them a good match.
Like, if you think about it though, like, their career, I feel like Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase's careers got better and their wrestling styles got better when Legacy completely, split
Dismantled,
apart.
yeah.
But like, Legacy, they weren't, I feel like they were a good tag team, but like, the Hart Foundation would wipe them off the map. Like, if you want me to be completely honest, the Hart Foundation would absolutely whoop them, like, to a pulp, like, really bad. So I gotta give that to the Hart Foundation. I agree with you, Dad.
The Hart Foundation was, Bret Hart, WWE Hall of Fame, the excellence of execution. It was an amazing.
Yep.
He was amazing.
What's the issue with the sharpshooter? It's over.
Jim the Anvil Neidhart was also, the late Jim the Anvil Neidhart. He was also an excellent superstar. He was the powerhouse of the Hart Foundation. But as they say in a tag team, there's always that one weak link. Not to say Jim the Anvil Neidhart was a weak link, but
I feel like
Bret Hart got more exposure out of the tag team.
I agree.
So
pretty much Bret Hart has always been popular even when he was in the Hart Foundation. So like it was Bret Hart, has been up there for a long time basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's what it was.
Exactly.
So before we go into that, Alvin Cloud says I can't wait till July 10th. Now what he's referring to is our third episode of our Evolution of Pro Wrestling trivia. So he is going to be a guest on our show as of now, helping us with the trivia. Christopher Brown says, I still cringe on how Legacy ended. Because Legacy was a good faction at a point. Randy Orton. The legend
But if
killer.
you want me to be honest, I feel like Randy Orton carried them. Like,
of course he did.
I'm not saying like they were the weaklings, but like, that's...
No, but that's the thing. He
carried them. Like, if
I wouldn't say carry them.
That's what I'm gonna use. I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to sleep on Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes because at the end of the day, they're both sons of Ted DiBiase Sr. and Dusty Rhodes. So, they were absolutely good wrestlers. They take from their fathers. But I still feel like Randy Orton, if there was no Randy Orton, they would probably be there wouldn't be no legacy. Or if there was a legacy, it wouldn't live up to the name that it is now.
So we talking about the legacy. Christopher Brown brought up a good point. WWE did have the opportunity to make Legacy into another Four Horsemen.
Right.
And they dropped the ball. They could have brought Ric Flair into lead and have Orton, Ted, and Cody in the run roughshod over the tag team division. That's what they should have done. They didn't do it. They dropped the ball, just like WWE has been dropping the ball ever since WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yes, you're right. But as I said, you got to give this to
the Hart Foundation.
There's no comparison with
absolutely that.
Absolutely not. So, Jaden, let's get to the next one.
Let's do this. Alright, so my tag team... speaking of Randy, Edge and Randy, Rated RKO. And we're talking about, the Rated R Superstar and the Legend Killer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, against the New Age Outlaws. Road Dogg Jesse James and Badass Billy Gunn. Wow.
That's actually interesting, if you want me to be honest. Yeah. That's actually pretty interesting.
It sure is. It definitely is interesting. It's an interesting...
So that I answer this question first all the time. Who's your pick? Who you got? Who's your money on? Who's your money on?
I would have to say, and it's gonna kill me to say this, but rated RKO.
I was gonna agree.
And I say that because with the New Age Outlaws, don't get me wrong, they were an excellent tag team. They won the tag team titles. They were part of DX, made a name for themselves when they were into WWE, with Triple H and China and X-Pac. But Edge and Christian, they pretty much changed the atmosphere in professional wrestling. Edge went from this quiet person into the dark, all that stuff, to the rated R superstar, and then
the Randy Orton was
the ultimate opportunist, and then WWE Hall of Famer. Then you have Randy Orton,
the legend,
that was a legend killer. Who
he goes by the name of the Viper
he took out pretty much almost every legend that came his way.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The only one he didn't beat was Hulk Hogan.
But he still got an RKO on him. Of course, which is surprising.
RKO in the car.
Exactly, and he had the balls to fight Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't like doing that because that's the Undertaker's match. If you want me to be honest, it's hard to beat the Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match.
Absolutely.
So Randy Orton, he was tough and he fought the Undertaker and he had pride to do it. So I feel like putting the Legend Killer and the Rated R Superstar together is an absolute dream team.
No, absolutely. And Alvin Klaus says that the RKO team wins.
Yeah,
I agree. I actually have to agree. They are excellent talent. The way they're presenting their feud now.
Right.
Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, is back.
Mm-hmm.
He's back. Unfortunately, Edge did get hurt. He had a torn tricep. He is going to be out for a little while. But Christian came back, and Edge pretty much Randy Orton just punted him in the head.
Oh, so, he punted him.
Yes. So the Legend Killer is
question.
Back. Yes.
Legend Killer question.
So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to go on with Randy Orton.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of have a feeling that when Edge comes back, I think Rated RKO is making a return.
They could make him return. But they could be for real this time. Instead of Edge backstabbing him.
Yes.
We could see, top-haired Randy Orton, aggression Randy Orton, and the Rated R Superstar.
Yes.
So that would be absolutely amazing.
Pretty much. All right, Jaden, let's go to another one.
Let's go. Oh, yeah. I got the Dudley Boys.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
The Dudley Boys.
Devon
and Bubba Ray.
Oh, yes.
Oof. This is a tough match.
Who you got?
The Wild Samoans.
Oh.
Wow. The Wild Samoans against the Dudley Boys. Alpha and Sika. Wow. Alpha and Sika against Devon Dudley and Bubba Ray. Two of the top tag teams in their era.
Okay, yeah, two of the top tag teams in their era, but Dad, I'm pretty sure you're gonna agree with me on this. But okay, look at this. Put it like this. I feel like the Wild Samoans would probably beat them in any other match besides a TLC and a tables match.
I don't know.
I feel like no.
Because these guys they're
good. But I feel
beasts.
but look
these
at
guys are
what
beasts.
the Dudleys, Dad. The Dudleys are the master of tables.
I don't know.
They're the Table Brothers. They're the Ladder Brothers. They're everything.
The Wild Samoans have been involved in a lot of brutal matches, my son.
But the
Dudleys too.
Okay,
listen. I'm not taking anything away from the Dudleys. You know what I mean? It's
okay, but no matter how many times the Dudleys win or lose these matches, they always come out alive. They always come out like they.
I know.
Like they didn't just get out of a crazy match. Like they didn't just get slammed through 4 tables and get crushed by a ladder. They come out like it was totally nothing. Like nothing just happened. Especially the Dudleys are big guys and they're fast guys in the ring. And to put weapons on their backs and to give the Dudleys weapons, that's an absolutely insane tag team. That's what you call a hardcore tag team.
Let's go to the comments.
Let's go.
Alvin Klaus says the Wild Samoans all day.
Okay, so he takes the Wild Samoans.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. You make a valid point. So I'm actually gonna stay neutral on this one. Okay. Because I like both tag teams. You know, I'm old school.
I want to see Samoans, if I see the Wild Samoans in action, then I'll probably.
Oh, trust me, I'm gonna show you a video.
All right, then I'll probably have a different outlook.
So, but yes, I'm definitely neutral on this one. Neutral,
but as of right now, I'm taking the Dudley Boyz. As of right now, I'm taking the Dudley Boyz. But until I see the Wild Samoans,
well, if that's the case, then I'm gonna go with the Wild Samoans.
Okay.
You know, yes, we've been disagreeing a lot today. Besides that one with Edge and Randy Orton. But the Wild Samoans are our fierce team, and it's. I wish we could have seen that match. I really wish we could have. So we also have a comment from Christopher Brown. Here's a fantasy tag team match for you, Lewis. Dudley Boyz versus the New Day, Kofi and Big E.
Told you those two together, they're
an awesome tag team.
Oh yeah,
they're an awesome tag team.
And Kofi has his fair shares of being in ladder matches and Money in the Bank matches and matches similar to those. And you know, Big E, you know he fought in a Hell in a Cell match, so Big E knows.
Oh yeah, when they fought
the Usos in that Hell in a Cell match, that was an absolutely great. I feel like that match was absolutely amazing.
Oh, of course. That was by far one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Me too.
Like, they literally...
Oh, yeah. They
literally tore the house down.
I think that was the match of the night. If you want me to be completely honest, I feel like
tore the house down. Like, it was so amazing.
It was very great. I enjoyed that match.
Of course. It was definitely a good match.
It was.
So, Jaden.
Yep.
We have our last pick. Who is the final Dream Team main event fantasy warfare?
Oh yeah, I got Team Extreme, the Hardy Boys.
The Hardy Boys.
Team Extreme.
Wow, that's crazy.
Team Extreme.
The Hardy Boys. I like the Hardy Boys. They're extreme. They're good. But I don't think they're the Rock and Sock Connection.
The Rock and Sock. See,
Mick Foley and the Rock.
I feel like Team Extreme is made for those extreme matches.
Yes.
And I feel like Mick Foley can compete in those matches, but I feel like matches like table matches, ladder matches, Extreme Rules matches are not made for The Rock. Like, I feel like The Rock should stay false count anywhere type guy.
I don't know. Listen, Mick Foley.
When is the last time you've actually seen, or when is a time you actually seen The Rock climb up a ladder and
SummerSlam.
Okay.
Royal Rumble.
SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, okay. But you see the Hardy Boys do it all the time.
No, okay, listen. Let me tell you something. If it comes to a ladder match, TLCs, I give it to the Hardy Boys. If you want to talk about a brawl, just a kick-ass fight.
Oh yeah, a brawl.
The Rock and
Sock, yeah, they take that all the way. So I agree with you on that.
Okay, so let's get to a few comments.
All right.
Alvin Klaus says there's a reason the Samoan family line keeps going. Well, yes, because they're phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Moses Marquez, thank you for joining us, Moses, from Smart Mark Radio Podcast in I believe that's the East Coast. I think South Coast. I'm so sorry. I'm lost right now.
He takes the Rock and Sock.
In California. He takes the Rock and Sock connection. Christopher Brown says Dwayne and Mick in a classic, and just for the hell of it, why not make it an hour-long match? Yeah.
That would be a nice. If we're talking about a brawl all around the arena, then yeah,
it would be a hell of a match.
Of course, the Rock and Sock take that.
It would be a hell of a match.
But like if we're talking about like a Team Extreme match, a TLC match, then the Hardy Boys take that. Yeah. So I agree. I agree with you on that input.
It's definitely it's tough to call.
But either way, like either match, it would still be a great match. Like even if the Rock wasn't built for that type of match, I still feel like the Rock would have did a good job in that match, and the Hardy Boys would have did a good job in that brawl match. So like
Yep.
It would either way. It would be a good match, and it would be good. Two great tag teams to see fight against.
Well, we're getting towards the end of our show, Jaden, but we got our lovely director watching us right now. My beautiful wife, Yesenia. Hello, honey.
Stepmom.
Alvin Klaus says, team-wise, the Hardys are a better team, but star power, the Rock and Sock. I gotta agree. I have to agree with that. Team-wise, the Hardys are better.
Oh, yeah.
The Rock and Sock connection, they did, they pretty much, it was like a Stone Cold and Do Love type of tag team. Mm-hmm. But the Hardy Boys had that chemistry
And they were brothers. They were brothers. So
we love you too, honey.
Love you too. So they know how they think. They know how each other think.
They know how they think. They brothers. And they know what goes on.
If you want me to be completely honest, they wrestled exactly the same. They had the same breed. You know, they were death defying. They were like a matured version of Sabu, except, you know, without all the bruises and stuff like that. They would, you know, flip through the tables, go through ladders and all that. So yeah.
Christopher Brown says, and Jaden, it's mixed cardio you have to worry about in that match, not Dwayne's.
He's right about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fans, we're gonna give you the opportunity to give us your one fantasy warfare dream match, a tag team dream match, and let us know. And we will just make a pick right off the back.
Absolutely.
And say who it was.
Yep.
As we continue, we encourage you guys to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, as well as now TikTok. Evolution of Pro Wrestling is on TikTok. Please take a look at us.
Yes.
We're going to be making some really funny videos. We're going to be doing some awesome videos in TikTok, and you're going to want to join us on TikTok. So let's get this let's get these fantasy warfare matches out here, guys. What's going on? Comment. So Jaden, this was an excellent topic. This is fantasy warfare.
We had some great tag teams in this.
No, it was some weird matches. It was some really weird matches. It was some
weird matches, but like it would be interesting to see.
Okay, so we got our first one here. Ole Anderson against FTR, which is the Revival that is now in AEW. Jaden, who would be your pick?
If you want me to be completely honest, I honestly have no idea. Like they both are great tag teams.
So you're gonna stay neutral on this one. Okay.
They're both great tag teams.
I respect that.
So it's really hard to choose.
I respect that. Okay. We got from Christopher Brown, DX versus the Revival.
I gotta go with DX.
I agree.
I gotta go with
DX all the way.
Yes.
Alvin Cloud says the Usos against the Young Bucks.
I don't really know who.
I know who the Young Bucks is. I'm gonna stay neutral on this one.
I mean, I'm gonna stay neutral only because I've never heard of the Young Bucks.
Yeah, it's
and the Usos are a good tag team, but I'm gonna stay neutral.
They both great tag teams. So, but thank you, wrestling fans, for joining us. As again I mentioned, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Also, if you have any concerns or issues or comments or topics, email us at evolutionofprowrestling@gmail.com. If you ever want to be on the show, if you guys ever want to be on a guest, please message us on Evolution of Pro Wrestling.
And remember, we still have the trivia, so that's also a chance to get on.
No, Mark Moses, he's not watching AEW. I got to get him into that, so it's just a matter of time before I get him into that. Next week's topic, Jaden. The greatest world heavyweight champions of all time. And we're not just talking about...
We're not talking about the WWE World Heavyweight title. We're talking about when they were split. Like when the WWE title was the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title was the World Heavyweight title.
No, when Triple H first brought the World Heavyweight title to the WWE. But that's not all. We're going to talk about famous superstars from WCW who wore that title of the World Heavyweight title. So that's something that's going to be interesting next week. Tune in. Oh, wait a minute before we go. Christopher Brown has one more. The Street Profits against the Steiner Brothers.
I agree.
Moses Marquez says Ric Flair. End of discussion.
Well, he already has his pick for the match.
No, we're pretty much saying when I told him you didn't watch AEW, he said Ric Flair. End of discussion. So yes, Alvin Cloud, July 10th, you will be on the show for our third episode of Evolution of Pro Wrestling Trivia. Well, fans, it's time to go. From myself, Louis, the Encyclopedia of Professional Wrestling, and from my colleague...
Hold on, I got this. His colleague, the Whiz Kid of Pro Wrestling, Jay.
Thank you, fans. And as well for my producer and director, my lovely wife, Yesenia. Thank you, wrestling fans, for joining us. We will see you next week.